Hello, and welcome back to Travel with Mila. I'm Mila Carter, and today I want to talk about something that might seem contradictory after all my budget travel advice. What travel experiences are actually worth spending money on? You see, being a budget traveler doesn't mean being cheap about everything. It means being strategic about where you spend your money and where you save it. There are certain things in travel that are absolutely worth splurging on, and today I'm going to share them with you. I've learned over the years that the best travel experiences aren't always the cheapest ones. Sometimes, spending a little extra money on the right things creates memories that last a lifetime. The key is knowing where those things are and being intentional about your spending. It's about prioritizing what matters most to you. So, let's dive into what travel experiences are actually worth your money. The first thing worth spending money on is authentic local experiences. This could be a cooking class with a local chef, a guided tour led by someone from the community, or a meal at a restaurant run by locals. These experiences connect you to the culture in a way that generic tourist activities never can. They give you genuine insight into how people actually live. I once paid £50 for a cooking class in Thailand, and it was one of the best experiences of my entire trip. I learned how to make authentic Thai food, I met the chef's family, and I gained an understanding of the culture that I never would have gotten otherwise. I still make those recipes at home, and every time I do, I'm transported back to that moment. These kinds of experiences are absolutely worth the money because they enrich your travel in ways that cheap tourist attractions simply cannot. The second thing worth spending money on is unique accommodations for special occasions. If you're celebrating something, a birthday, an anniversary, a milestone, it's worth splurging on a special place to stay. For one night during your trip, consider upgrading to somewhere special. I once splurged on a night in a beautiful beachfront villa for my birthday, and it cost me £150. It was more than I normally spend on accommodation, but it was absolutely worth it because it made my birthday special. These memories are priceless, and sometimes spending a little extra creates those unforgettable moments. The third thing worth spending money on is good food. There's usually one restaurant in every city that's famous for something specific. Maybe it's the best seafood restaurant, or the most authentic local cuisine, or a restaurant with a view. I once spent £80 on a single meal in Barcelona, and it was one of the most incredible dining experiences of my life. It was a small, family-run restaurant with a tasting menu that showcased the region's best ingredients and the chef's passion for cooking. That meal was worth every penny because it was an experience, not just food. The difference between eating and experiencing food is huge, and it's worth spending money on. The fourth thing worth spending money on is transportation that saves you time. Sometimes paying for a direct flight instead of a budget flight with connections saves you not just time, but stress and money. I once paid an extra £50 for a direct flight instead of taking a budget flight with 2 connections. That extra £50 saved me 8 hours of travel time and a lot of stress. When you calculate the true cost, the direct flight was actually cheaper. Sometimes paying for a private transfer instead of public transportation is worth it, especially if you're arriving late at night or in an unfamiliar city. Your safety and peace of mind are worth money. The fifth thing worth spending money on is activities that match your interests. If you love hiking, spend money on a guided hike with an experienced guide. If you love diving, invest in proper diving lessons and equipment. If you love art, visit the museums and galleries. Don't skip the things you're passionate about just to save money. I love snorkeling, so I always budget for good snorkeling experiences. I've paid for private snorkeling tours that cost more than group tours, and they were absolutely worth it because I got to see things I never would have seen otherwise. Spending money on activities that genuinely interest you creates the best memories. The sixth thing worth spending money on is travel insurance and safety. I cannot stress this enough. Don't cheap out on travel insurance. A comprehensive travel insurance policy might cost you £100 for a month of travel, but if something goes wrong, it could save you thousands. I've seen travelers who skipped insurance end up in medical debt that took years to pay off. Your safety and health are not places to save money. The seventh thing worth spending money on is photography services if you want professional memories. If you're traveling for a special occasion, consider hiring a local photographer to capture your experience. I once hired a photographer for a day during a trip to Peru, and I spent £200. Those photos are now some of my most treasured possessions. They capture moments and emotions that I never would have been able to capture myself. The eighth thing worth spending money on is comfort on long journeys. If you're taking a long flight or a long bus ride, sometimes paying for extra legroom or a better seat is worth it. I used to always book the cheapest seats, but after a particularly uncomfortable 16-hour flight, I realized that paying for a seat with more legroom was worth the extra money. My comfort and health matter, and sometimes spending a little extra ensures that. The ninth thing worth spending money on is learning experiences. If there's something you want to learn while traveling, a language, a skill, an art form, invest in proper lessons. I once paid for Spanish lessons while traveling in Mexico, and it completely changed my experience. I was able to communicate better, connect with locals more deeply, and have a richer cultural experience. That investment in learning paid dividends throughout my entire trip. The 10th thing worth spending money on is travel to places that matter to you. If there's somewhere you've always wanted to go, save up and go. Don't put it off waiting for a cheaper time. Life is short, and experiences matter more than money. I've spent thousands traveling to places that were important to me, and I've never regretted a single penny. The key to smart travel spending is understanding the difference between spending money on things and spending money on experiences. Spending money on a fancy hotel room where you'll only sleep is different from spending money on a cooking class where you'll learn something and meet people. Spending money on a souvenir that you'll forget about is different from spending money on a meal that will stay with you forever. The best travel spending is on experiences that enrich your life and create lasting memories that you'll carry with you forever. So here's my advice. Be a budget traveler, but don't be cheap about the things that matter. Save money on accommodation, transportation, and generic tourist attractions. But spend money on authentic experiences, good food, activities you love, and things that keep you safe and healthy. That's the balance that creates the best travel experiences and the most meaningful memories. When you get home, you won't remember how much you spent on a budget hotel, but you'll remember that incredible meal or that amazing experience with locals. I hope this video has helped you think differently about travel spending and priorities. What do you think is worth spending money on while traveling? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Share your favorite travel splurges with me and the Travel with Mila community. Tell me about a time when you splurged on something while traveling and it was absolutely worth it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Travel with Mila for more travel tips and advice. I upload new videos every week, so you won't want to miss them. Until next time, happy travels!